Steaks are definitely my kryptonite. Hello YouTubers and preppers, welcome to the channel. I'm EvitaCooks and Preps, and if you're new, welcome to the family. Steak has always been my kryptonite. It's also the running joke and tease in my house, mostly because we all like our steaks in different stages. I like mine medium rare, my husband enjoys his medium done, and my kids overdone. But that's a subject for another day. So I'm always trying to figure ways of cooking the steak, and at least if I can't master the temperature of the steak, hopefully I can master the flavor. So I'm always coming up with different seasonings to apply to the steak. That said, today I'm going to be sharing with you my recipe for a coffee dry rub that I hope you enjoy. It is very simple. Maybe this time I'll cook the steak just right. I'm going to be using this rub to cook these beautiful New York strips. I plan to surprise my husband with a romantic dinner. Hopefully I can keep the romance going after I'm done cooking the steak, but we'll see. We're making a coffee rub, and therefore we need some coffee. For this recipe, you could use the regular coffee grounds or instant, which is what I'm going to use because I like that the instant coffee kind of melts into the steak, and as you're rubbing the steak, all that coffee ground is going to penetrate right into it. So I like the idea of the instant, but if you don't have instant coffee, you can certainly use ground coffee and it'll be just as good. This is my preferred brand, even though lately it's been extremely difficult to find any of these in my area for some reason, and when I do find them, they're super expensive. But you can use your favorite coffee and that's fine. Next, I'm adding brown sugar, and I make my brown sugar using organic cane sugar. I'm adding the onion powder. I dehydrate the onions and make the powder at home, as well as the garlic powder. The last four ingredients are going to add a smokiness and a little bit of a punch to this rub, and that is the smoked paprika and also some of my Chile Guajillo. The Chile Guajillo is going to add a toasty, kind of bittersweet, smoky flavor. I'm also going to be using some Aleppo chili pepper. This one I buy online, and it is a little bit smoky and bitter with a hint of spice. Not too much. This is not a spicy rub. It's actually a very smoky rub. All these peppers are just going to enhance the flavor of the steak, which is what I'm aiming for. Like I said, my family is not a big fan of my steaks, and I'm hoping that with this recipe that I'm slowly improving on my steak cooking techniques. We'll see how that goes. And last but not least, I'm going to be adding the salt, and I'm using Redmond real salt. This time I'm using their Hickory smoke, which is delicious. Again, I'm using the smoked one just to keep up with that smoky flavor theme. But if you don't have a smoked salt, you can use the regular Redmond salt. When you use my link, you can take advantage of a 15% coupon code, and at the same time help the channel at no extra cost to you, because anytime you use my Redmond real salt link to purchase your salt, I get a small commission from them. So if you're due to reorder your salt, I encourage you to use my link and save 15% of your purchase. And for added flavor, I'm also going to be adding some mustard powder, and for an extra kick, some freshly ground black pepper. Besides being the perfect condiment for steak, the mustard adds a nice, beautiful balance of flavor. And guys, I use this seasoning to make a kicked up version of red-eye gravy that is to die for. And all you have to do is remember to label it so that you don't forget what's in it. I go through this pretty quickly, so for the most part I make a double batch. I always like to have it on hand, that way I don't have to worry about making another batch every time. What we just made is a rub, so I'm going to be rubbing the seasoning on the steaks, and I'm going to be doing a very generous rub on these steaks because the technique that I'm using for the steaks today, it's not just the dry rub. I'm also going to be dry curing the steaks for a couple of days in the refrigerator. You can actually dry cure them in the refrigerator without seasoning. Since we have to season it later, why not go the extra mile to season it before we dry age the steaks in the refrigerator? This is a similar technique to the standing rib roast that I made a while back. I've tried that method several times. I've been pretty lucky using that method. And I've already cut a couple of pieces of cheesecloth so that I can wrap each steak. And you're also going to need a baking pan fitted with a rack to catch any of the liquids that might draw out from the steaks in the curing process. Okay, so I've pre-cut the pieces of cheesecloth to 18 by 12 approximately, and I'm going to wrap them individually, but if you want you can wrap them together, that's up to you. And in about 3 to 5 days I'm going to come back and show you what the steaks look like, and most importantly we are going to cook them and we're going to try them. Have dry cured in the refrigerator for about 5 days, but just keep in mind that even though I'm dry curing it in the refrigerator, you might not get a steakhouse quality steak. What I'm aiming for by dry aging or curing the steaks is for the perfect sear when I cook my steaks. Other than that, although some may argue that dry aging the steaks in the refrigerator for a minimum of 3 to 5 days will yield a more tender steak, I'm not really sure if there's any validity to that. However, based on the research I have done, I have found that most reputable steakhouses dry age or cure their steaks for a minimum of 3 weeks up to months. However, in my case, what I'm aiming for right now is just a perfect sear when I cook the steaks. The steak almost looks cooked, to be honest with you, and that coffee rub is amazing, smells incredible. And today I plan to surprise my husband with a very special dinner, just because I really love the way he loves me. And he's been working very hard to work on my recording studio. Coffee rub smells out of this world. What I did for the lobsters is I butterflied them, brushed them with extra virgin olive oil, seasoned them with some of my lemon pepper seasoning and a little bit of paprika, and that's all. And these are roughly about 10-ounce lobster tails, so we're going to be broiling them for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to brush them with some garlic butter. For more must-have and delicious seasonings like this one, consider subscribing to the channel, like, share, and comment for the YouTube algorithms, and activate the bell so you never miss out on any of my videos. Until next time, I'm Evita, cooks and preps. Bon appetit! You really have to try it.